Saludos mi gente linda de Mayagüez, esto es La Tribu Podcast. Yo soy Luis Joel Aymad y estoy muy pero muy feliz de ser parte de este proyecto y donde tenía que ser, en nuestra casa, en el Yucayeque, el Palacio de Recreación y Deportes Germán Wilkins Vélez. La Tribu Podcast hoy les trae una entrevista con uno de los jugadores que fue clave para ese histórico campeonato del 2012. Señoras y señores, con nosotros Kevin Hamilton.
Hey.
Kevin, how you doing?
Doing well, yourself?
Kev, it's been so grateful to, we are so grateful to have you here. The talk that we had before this podcast was amazing. For me, it was a dream come true. For me, being part of that team in 2012 as a broadcaster and being able to translate all your plays through radio and also through podcast or streaming, it's such an honor for us to have you here. When we talk about that team from 2012, what comes to your mind? Obviously, we have the first championship, we have the memories, the players, but from your perspective, you were in this court. What was it like?
It was amazing. When I think back of that year, I think about, obviously bringing a championship to this city, how great the fans have been to us, not just that year, but previous to that year. I came here in 2009, I believe. That's when we were playing in Cabo Rojo.
The Turistas.
Yeah. So like the process of building our team to that point, and then we were brothers. We enjoyed playing with each other. We had no egos on that team. Everybody played for each other. It was one of my favorite. It's actually my favorite professional season. One of my favorite experiences ever.
And how did you feel coming back not only to Puerto Rico but to Mayagüez? We know that part of your family lives here in Mayagüez.
Yes, yeah, I have a couple cousins from my grandfather's side that I get to see quite, when I come out here. I've been fortunate enough to bring my high school team out here the past 3 years, get them immersed into the culture, get them to see the banners, so they get to show off a little bit. But I love it here. It feels like a second home.
Talking about that, what's the initiative that you have with these young guys? Most of them from Brooklyn, New York, yeah. But basically from the whole state of New York. They're coming here to Puerto Rico, but what are they doing now that you're a coach?
Yeah, so I've been coaching at a school called Eagle Academy in Brooklyn, New York. I'm also a guidance counselor there. So for the past 3 years, our principal, Rashad Mead, who's amazingly supportive of our program, wanted us to, do some traveling. He asked me for some ideas, and at that point, I got in touch with Carlos and Cady. And, I thought this was the perfect place. I had so many special memories here with, the people in Mayagüez, and obviously the beaches and the food and the history in terms of, being a part of this organization. I thought it was a perfect opportunity for the guys to see something different. Most of the kids that I work with are from the inner city. They don't get to travel outside of the states that often, definitely not to places like as beautiful as Mayagüez and Puerto Rico. So it's a great experience every year. It really kind of, brings the team together. It's a team bonding experience. We get some work in, obviously. But no, we've enjoyed it, and we've been really appreciative for Mayagüez for hosting us the last couple of years.
And what's their first impression when they come to Mayagüez or other cities in Puerto Rico? We have this beautiful island that has so much to offer. But what is that first impression from those guys?
Yeah, it's interesting because like the first thing that they notice are like the horses. They notice like the horses and the animals, and obviously the weather is beautiful, and it's in November, so when in New York right now
it's freezing.
It's pretty cold. So it's just a cultural shock for them. They don't see like things like this very often, which is part of the process, kind of trying to expand their minds to see that there's different parts of this world. There's so many beautiful things that you guys can go and see. And yeah, they love it here.
Going back to 2012, you guys didn't have like the greatest start, but it felt like you guys were just trying to make or build that chemistry, and all of a sudden you were in the semifinals against Bayamon, and you were the favorites. And what was it like to build that chemistry, to know each other since day one to that championship?
Yeah, I feel like that process of building started in 2009, the first time that we made it to the semifinals. You could tell there was like a different energy in the city, something that people were really proud of. And I think it also set like a level of expectations. Like, you know, we can make it there. We can become a team that's contending for a championship. So a lot of the core guys from that team were on the team that won the championship as well. Ramon Clemente, myself, Giovanni Jimenez, Steven Ramirez. So, you know, we can sense the momentum. And I think, you know, when you have a special talent like Alex Franklin that's drafted to your program, we had Carlos Rivera, obviously, who's been with us for a couple of years.
Ricky Sanchez,
Dwayne Rose. But obviously, you know, I think the biggest piece was Dante Smith. And, you know, obviously he was a great player, could score, could shoot, but he was a special leader for our team, you know, a very selfless leader. I mentioned to you earlier, you know, in the finals, we recognized that Alex was the mismatch. You know, they had smaller guards in our receiver with Danilo and Larry. And so we decided to post him up. You know, a leader with an ego, and they said, hey, no, it still has to go through me. But he trusted us, and, you know, I think that type of leadership is what leads to championship opportunities like we were able to capitalize on.
That team had everything, you know, because when you talk about that team, obviously you have to have that guy to give him the ball in the right moment and when it matters the most in Dante. But you have hustlers like Florentino, like Corky, may he rest in peace, Ruben Cotto. I mean, and even you have the versatility to play on the point guard and also in the shooting guard position. Right. And when arrived Carlos, I think that freed you up a little bit on the court.
Yeah, playing with Carlos was great. You know, as a point guard, when you have somebody that can shoot the ball that well, it makes my job a lot easier.
Exactly.
But like that kind of speaks to the team as well, because Carlos played the point in Ponce and in San Germán and stuff like that. I remember when I first got here, I think me and Ricky got here the same day, because, you know, I was coming from Germany, I believe, at that point. I don't know where Ricky was coming from. And that game, Dante was hurt. And Dante was the small forward, but he kind of played the point guard for the team. He was always bringing the ball up. And when I arrived, they threw me straight into the game. The same day I arrived, we had a game. And I was playing point guard. And Dante came to me after and was like, listen, you're the point guard now. Like, I'm not bringing the ball up. This is all your responsibility. That's the type of team that we had. We had guys that were willing to reduce their roles a little bit for the sake of winning the championship.
And talking about Donta, he was that kind of guy, that kind of leader.
For sure.
And when we go back to that championship, how that marked you or your career, being a champion in Puerto Rico and in a franchise that had never won?
Yeah, that's something that's very special to me. You know, and even I've been fortunate enough to, you know, be the coach of this team in high school that we've won a championship, and previous to our staff coming on, they've never won a championship. There's something about building that. There's something about, you know, having a sense of pride in you know, some programs and some, you know, teams like Bayamon and Ponce have these long traditions of winning. You know, being in the process of building that together is really special to me. You know, I've been on other teams that have won championships that have, you know, histories, like I mentioned. It's a different feeling. So, you know, the sense of pride that I have and that the entire team has in bringing a championship to this city is something that I think we'll carry with us forever.
One of those guys that felt those colors and felt what this team was about was Andres Corky Ortiz. He passed away tragically, and it was a low blow to the whole city, to the whole organization. What was it like to play with Corky, to have that kind of a teammate?
Corky was an amazing teammate, man. Obviously, everybody was very sad. We were actually planning to play him that day that he got into that accident. But if anybody that knows him knows how funny he was, how much energy he brought to the locker room. Like, you know, no matter what the situation was, he was always joking around. He was always bringing up the energy of the team. And on the court, I mean, you wouldn't find someone who worked as hard as him. Like he did so much of the things that other people don't like to do. And he brought so much value to our team in that way. Like I can see in my head him cutting back door for layups and getting steals and going out in transition.
He was a dog.
He was just a dog. Like there's no other word to describe him. Like he comes into the game, you know he's gonna give your team energy. The crowd loved him, we all loved him, and we all miss him very much.
Who was the most fun? Who was the most funny guy in that locker room?
Corky and Ramon Clemente.
Moncho.
Yeah, those two. Like sometimes you have to like get away from them as much as they were joking around. Always pulling pranks in the locker room. But you know, those guys, when you have that, and I talk to my guys about this now, you know, the guys who are funny and jokesters, there's leadership qualities in there. When you're a funny person and people are drawn to you, that's a power. You have a responsibility to be, you know, a leader on the court as well. And both those guys were always joking around, but on the court they were very serious and they worked really hard, and they both were big pieces of what we were able to accomplish.
When we talk about the BSN, obviously is the greatest league in the Caribbean and the Americas, besides obviously the NBA. How do you see the evolution from the league to the time that you played and what is happening right now?
Yeah, from like a marketing perspective, it's amazing. Like obviously I know there's a lot of rappers who are involved with teams now. So, you know, I came to visit Ramon a couple years ago. The team was going to concerts and all sorts of stuff and staying in the suite. That stuff really didn't exist when we were playing. But, you know, I think like everything, as things evolve, things get better. The stadium starts to get these jumbotrons and stuff like that. So it looks like a really exciting time for Puerto Rico. I'm happy to see the league evolving like this, and the guys who are coming out of this getting more opportunities. And I'm hoping to catch some games this year, hopefully.
Let's do something here. You are down 3 points, 3 seconds left. Who are you gonna pass the ball to from that 2012 team?
Well, just based on experience, I have to pass it to Dante. After as many game winners as he hit, especially the big one against Bayamon in the semifinals, you know, I think.
Let's go to that semifinals.
Yeah.
Do you remember what happened with the mascots?
Yes.
That brawl?
Absolutely, absolutely. Bumpy. What was it? I forgot the name of the other mascot.
Pepe Plaza.
Yeah. So I know we had to stop the game for a moment. Nobody took it seriously at first. Everybody thought it was a joke until we saw one of the heads fly off. And then we knew it was serious. But you know, it was fun. You know, it probably wasn't fun for the two people that were fighting, but you know, that just shows how competitive this series was and how heated things were.
And it's cultural. You see fights all over the place, you know, in the stands, and the mascots, the players, you know, it's Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And, para la gente que no recuerda ese momento, hubo una pelea de mascotas en medio de un juego en esa semifinal contra Bayamón. Ahí estaba Bumpy peleando contra Pepe Plaza. Parecía una broma al principio, pero no, fue algo real. Hay algo bien importante de esto que estamos haciendo con Kevin Hamilton, y es recordar, volver a esa época gloriosa de nuestros indios de Mayagüez, porque sabemos que nada se da sin trabajo, sin sacrificio. Y esta temporada 2025 también esperamos que sea positiva para nuestros muchachos. What are your goals? Your next goals. Let's talk about 1, 2, 3 years. You're planning to stay coaching or maybe coach in a professional league?
I was having this conversation with Carlos earlier. I really enjoy coaching at this level. Being a mentor to kids. A lot of these guys have aspirations to play in college, play professionally. I've been fortunate to have those experiences. So to be in a position to help them, and it not be about money, not be about politics, not be about anything other than developing the younger generation, I kind of feel like it's a calling for me right now. It's like my purpose. That's not to say, coaching at a different level will never happen. But right now, I'm pretty happy with what I do.
And that's the most important thing, make an impact in the new generations, Talking about that 2012 team, every team needs a leader, not only in the court, but in the baseline. Eddie Casiano is now with San Germán, but we have to be grateful for what he did in Mayagüez, especially that year. What it was like to have Eddie Casiano as a coach?
Eddie was fun. When I first started working with Eddie, I believe that was his first year coaching in 2009 with us. So, in a sense, I feel like we grew together. I was his first point guard, and we learned how to make each other comfortable. I think Eddie was a great motivator. I think Eddie demanded, and rightfully so, a certain amount of respect because of his history in this league and what he was able to accomplish. And I think he was the perfect coach for that team. He was a player's coach, a guy that kind of understands what all of us were going through, played at the highest level, played in championship situations. So, when we were in those situations, it wasn't foreign to him. I enjoy playing for Eddie. I think, I'm pretty sure that, I believe I know he's been to other championships, but I know that there's a really special moment for him too.
Do you guys, as players, have a different kind of respect for a coach that had an amazing career like Eddie, or someone that didn't play as good as Eddie Casiano did?
I think it's about how the coach presents themselves, right? If it's a guy who's arrogant or something like that, it probably works against the coach. I think in general, you have to have respect for somebody that's accomplished that. Eddie didn't come in here with his rings on his fingers every day or anything like that. He was in the trenches with us, so to speak. I think it goes by coach basis. It's more about how competent the coach is than what they've accomplished as a player.
The last year, it was tough for us. We had a great start, but then the imports leave at the same time, and it was a pretty bad situation for Mayagüez. We didn't make it to the playoffs, but we fight through the end, till the end. And what can you say to the fans and basically the organization after such a frustrating last year to reboot to this 2025 season?
Well, from my experience in this city, we didn't win championships every year. I felt like what I loved about Mayagüez is that the fans respected effort. They respected when you came out and gave everything that you had. That doesn't always result in wins, unfortunately. But one thing I had, an affinity for specifically with this fan base is that, they respected your effort and they were proud of you no matter what the result was, as long as they saw that you were fighting. And, with this new, the new leadership, I've been so happy with what I've seen. I'm a fan now. At a professional level, this is probably the only team that I really root for. And every game that I see the guys playing extremely hard. I know everybody in the organization, the front office, the owners, the GM, they put so much time and effort into putting in a product that this city can be proud of. So, I was following last year. I was really excited with the start. But what I see, being somebody who's been on the court and now is a fan, is I see an organization that's working really hard to try to have another special moment like we were able to experience. So I'm excited. I think we'll get there.
You play for several teams. You play in Fajardo. You started in Fajardo with Javier Mojica, Jesse Peyot, that whole generation, the great players. Um, you play for Santurce. You play for Mayagüez. What makes Mayagüez different in terms of organization and in terms of the fans from those other teams that you play?
I feel like this town, this organization, it a lot of places you go, they speak about family, and I feel like this organization is just really true to its word. Like even the experiences that my kids are able to have now, like I'm not sure if I would be able to do this with the other organizations that you named. It feels like home, and I think the players that come into this club with that type of mentality of a place that they want to establish as a home and accomplish something special that's unique from other places. I think Mayagüez is like the perfect place for something like that.
What do you miss the most from Mayagüez?
I miss home games. I really do. I was telling when I was driving to the gym this afternoon, or this morning rather, the manager of our team was in our car. And just a ride to the game, especially when it's in the playoffs, like the line to come into the stadium would be like way outside the stadium. You would see them like a quarter mile away. And just the excitement that we were able to generate during that time, it was a lot of fun. Like I was talking to Ramon, one time we were in the mall together during the championship series and we got mobbed. Like the fans came up to us. My daughter started crying, she didn't know what was going on. I missed the excitement of playing in this gym and the culture that we had here. I miss the food. I miss the beaches very much.
Actually,
my wife misses the weather.
Talking about food, you have family here.
Yeah.
And basically you're a son of Mayagüez now. What are those spots that you cannot miss every time that you come to Mayagüez?
Yeah. So Mana's Cafe.
Wow.
Was like our first stop off the plane. We loved Mana's Cafe. We used to go to Rico Mini pretty often.
Yeah.
There was a name of a restaurant. I think it was La Posada. I don't know if it's still, is that still open?
I think so.
La Posada is very good. Yeah, there's everywhere out here is good food.
We know that you guys had a lot of chemistry. You talk about Corky and those characters, but you have a funny story that you can tell us from that locker room? Something
that I can tell
something
you?
that you can tell. That's the most important thing. Something that you can tell us.
Funny stories.
Or maybe something that you shouldn't tell. So maybe we can edit.
Yeah. Funny story. Corky's associated with every funny story. Like he was like always pranking people, right? Like there's always some sort of prank. I think one time he put chewed gum in Ramon's shoe. And so when he put his sock into his shoe and he came out of it, there was gum all over his sock. And it's Corky because he's gonna let you know. He just starts running up and down the locker room laughing. He used to throw ice on people after every game and stuff like that. It was just most stories have something to do with Corky pranking people in the locker room.
Who was that teammate that never said no to party, to going out, to chill out?
So I wasn't part of the party crew. My wife and my family were here, so I didn't get to party as much as some of the other guys. Dante Smith used to go out.
I don't know why, but that doesn't seem like strange to me.
Yeah, Dante Smith used to step outside from time to time. I heard. I don't know for sure. Yeah.
What did you usually do in your free time, or did in your free time when you didn't have a game in the weekend? What were those places that you wanted to go?
Yeah, so I take these guys, my team now, to the places that we used to go pretty often. My wife and my kids love the beach, so we used to go to Playa Sucia all the time. We go to La Paguera all the time. We used to Boca Raton Beach. We used to go pretty often whenever we want to stay a little bit closer. Somewhere with water, somewhere that we can just put a sheet out and relax without my daughters and my family. Not much of my family members would come to visit me when I played in Europe, but for some reason, everybody wanted to come visit me when I played in Puerto Rico. So pretty often they come to the apartment and we go to all the beaches and spots like that.
This is not in the script, but I'm gonna go off pretty quick ping pong. Jordan or LeBron?
Oh man.
I knew I was gonna get you.
I have this argument with my friends pretty often. I defend LeBron, right? Because everybody says Jordan. And just to be on the other side of the argument, I defend LeBron. But Michael Jordan, I think, at the peak of his power, is just the best ever.
Beach or river?
Beach.
Pasta or meat?
Meat.
Meat. A teammate that you will like say, okay, you can take care of my child. That you have that confidence that he will do good.
From that team?
Yeah, from that team.
I would say, I'd probably say Ramon Clemente.
Ramon Clemente.
Yeah.
He seems like such a nice guy.
He's a great guy. One of my
family
best
guy.
Friends. Yeah.
Shout out to Ramon Clemente, who played lately in Argentina, in San Lorenzo. Great player. The institution didn't pay him, as long as I know.
Yeah.
Didn't treat him really well, but here in Maya West, it didn't happen. So shout out to Moncho. And last but not least, your best teammate ever.
In Maya West, my best teammate ever. In terms of like on the court or leadership or friendship or
whatever you. Oh, maybe we can like
different ones.
Exactly.
I really like playing with Carlos Rivera. I think we complemented each other very well, and he's a very, very cool guy. Very mellow, down to earth. I think we have similar personalities in that respect. I think Dante, in terms of imports and in terms of leaders of teams, he was the most selfless leader I've ever played with, or selfless superstar, rather. But another person who was a leader on that team was Marcus Mitchell. And, I talk to my guys about him very often, about a guy who didn't have a huge role in terms of playing, but somebody that was such a professional that came in here and pushed the guys and had a great attitude. That's a very tough question. That entire team were great teammates.
We have to wrap it up, Kev, but it's been such an amazing time with you. Amazing experience to go back to that year, and just we have to like sometimes go back to admire even more those players, that team, that franchise, and we're so grateful for you to be here with us. It's amazing. To wrap it up, a quick message to the Indios fans to come to the Palacio and support the Indios in 2025.
Yeah, I guess first of all, thank you. You guys are like family to me. This place will always have a special place in my heart. It's a second home to my family and I. And the impact that the fans have on the players, you can't even put into words. The support that we received, we felt forever, and it helped us very much in being able to produce on the court. And I think, like I mentioned, I'm really excited about the future of this program, the people who are running it. I think if you guys continue to support and continue to show out for these young guys who are putting their bodies on the line, special things will happen. So I'm looking forward to being a part of it when it happens, and I'm looking forward to continuing to support the team.
Kevin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. And if you want to know more about Kevin Hamilton, our champion, Kevin Hamilton, stay tuned to La Tribu podcast, and you will get all the information about those stories, the championship of that 2012 year, and basically para que también sigan conectados a todo lo que va a ser esta temporada 2025 tienen que estar al día con nosotros aquí en la Tribu Podcast. Para que sepan, esto está comenzando, mi gente. Todavía faltan muchas, pero muchas entrevistas y mucha información que usted quiere saber. Aquí todos somos la tribu y esto es la Tribu Podcast.